The discovery of the round earth. So in my childhood, I learnt that Columbus discovered that the earth is round. I had a little doubt. So those days, these stories of cowboys and Indians, red Indians, were very widespread. And the cowboys were always the heroes, they were glorified, and the Indians were always the villains, demonized. And the most, the best kind of characterization you might have is in Mark Twain. The best depiction. As an Indian, I was a bit troubled. Why are they always making them villains? So I asked, why are red Indians called Indians? Some confusion somewhere. The answer that I got was that Columbus made a mistake. When he reached the Americas, he thought he had reached India. Now, how did Columbus make such a foolish mistake? And the answer is, which I learnt later, because he grossly underestimated the size of the earth by 40%. So when he reached Cuba, he wrote in his logbook that he was off the coast of Cathay, so on. Then sometime later he discovered that he was wrong, that the instrument is broken, nothing much to take in the instrument, just got one movable part to the thumb. So why did he underestimate the size of the earth? Perhaps he underestimated it to get funds for his project of going west to reach east. But there is another problem. Only some elementary mathematics is needed to find the size of the earth. First year undergraduate students of my course on decolonized history and philosophy of science could easily do it. And it is now included in my forthcoming text, geometry text for class 9th on Raju Ganit. So I have an image here of my students whom I took on a trip to measure the size of the earth, and they made mistakes, but that's no problem. They learned the principle, it's very easy. So again the question is, why did Columbus make such a foolish mistake? And how come no one could correct it? Okay, he made a mistake, one person can make a mistake, can always happen. But how come it was never corrected? So the answer is, of course, that no one in Europe knew the elementary math needed to calculate the size of the earth. Little later in the 16th century, Jesuits stole high precision Indian trigonometric tables, precise to the 10th decimal place, from Cochin. That's where Vasco had got shelter. And the thief, I think he should be called a thief, and Jesuit general, Christophe Clavius, published them in his own name in 1607. He discovered it. But, published it in his name, but he did not know enough trigonometry to use the stolen trigonometric tables to calculate the size of the earth. Things with 10 decimal place precision, you should know trigonometry pretty well. I'm sure none of you would be able to calculate trigonometric values to 10 decimal place precision. It's not an easy task. So you have to be well versed in math. A calculator might be able to do it, but if you are asked to do it by hand, you will find it difficult. So he should know that much elementary trigonometry to calculate the size of the earth. He did not. Even Newton, 150 years after Columbus, his first estimate of the size of the earth was off by 25%. And of course, Greeks and Romans and European math, basically it was primitive and it lagged thousands of years behind others. So it annoyed people. See, 1,000 years before Columbus, the 5th century Aryabhat said, that's in Gold, 7, verse 7, that the earth is round like a kadam flower. So I have an image of a kadam flower. But I think all of you know what a kadam flower is. So the Bible does say the earth is flat. For example, Daniel 4:10-11, Matthew 4:8, Revelation 7, etc. I have these quotations on my website for a long time. I used to teach about this. But this belief in the flat earth was repeatedly dismissed as a superstition in India. Lallacharya, 8th century, says in his chapter on correction of mythical knowledge, Mithya Jnanam Nirakarati, that in Shikshadi Vriddhid, chapter 20, verse 36, the earth is not flat because far off objects like tall trees cannot be seen at a distance. Contrary to the Bible, here you can see the tall thing. Koteshwar in the 9th century repeats similar arguments in his book Goal. So though the West boasts of having discovered science, no contemporary Westerner dared declare that the Bible believed in superstition. This idea of a round earth was incorporated into everyday practice. Indo-Arabic navigation defines a zam. Zam comes from the Sanskrit yam, pahar, as the distance. So zam is defined as the distance from here to the horizon. That is the distance at which a ship, let's say you are on the sea, the distance at which the ship just disappears over the horizon. And this unit of length incorporates an accurate estimate of the size of the earth. Assuming it to be a perfect sphere, it very nearly is a difference of 20 kilometers in equatorial and polar radius, very small difference. Like the Arabic meal, it's approximately 1.8 kilometers, which is 1 arc minute. And therefore it incorporates, so it is 1 by 21,600 of the earth's circumference. And that gives you a very precise estimate of the circumference of the earth. So the Arabs too knew the correct value of the radius of the earth from at least 600 years before Columbus. The Indians used to state their estimates. They were stated much earlier, but they were stated estimates for the radius of the earth were stated in yojan. We don't know exactly what a yojan is. But Al-Biruni came in the 11th century to India, used Indian techniques to cross-check. You know what Khalifa al-Mamun did? He sent the team to measure out physically 1 degree of the arc in the desert. So Al-Biruni cross-checked the estimate of the size of the earth and confirmed it by using the image. And he stated his figure in Arabic meals. And we know exactly the correspondence between, well, very closely the correspondence between Arabic meals and English miles. And so we know that Al-Biruni's estimate was accurate to within 1% for the local circumference of the earth. So to summarize, Columbus did not discover that the earth is round. He stole knowledge of the round earth from Muslims in Europe. But now that's the critical point. Like many thieves, this is my epistemic test. Those who steal fail to understand, often fail to understand. So he stole without understanding. So there was Cordoba and so on. They were there in Europe, in Muslim part of it. So he incorrectly made the earth smaller to suit his aims. And no European could correct him, because no European then knew enough elementary math to measure the earth's size.